Hey folks, happy Thursday. Welcome into NBA Now. I'm your host, Harris Rubenstein. You're probably enjoying your Wednesday like I was yesterday until Jimmy Butler decided to blow up our week and has demanded a trade from the Minnesota Timberwolves. Not only did that happen, then Steven Jackson and Andrew Wiggins decided to get into an Instagram battle, but we'll get into that a little bit later. Let's first focus on Jimmy Butler. So Jimmy Butler has demanded a trade. He wants to go to either the Knicks, the Nets, or the Clippers. The only constant between these teams is the fact that all three of them are in big markets, and also that all three of them are in or have the capability to sign him to a max contract next offseason. So we know that he's been interested in the Knicks or the Nets all offseason long. The Clippers is an interesting one because everyone thought that he'd be interested in going to the Lakers. Now, I've reported on NBA Now multiple times how Jimmy Butler wanting to go to Los Angeles is the least surprising thing of all time. Fun fact, a 29, 30-year-old would rather live in Los Angeles than they would Minnesota. But the important thing to know about this is that the request has nothing to do with Karl Anthony Towns. There was a rumor out there that this whole feud between the two started because Jimmy Butler apparently slept with Karl Anthony Towns' ex-girlfriend, but apparently that isn't true. It's just a whole calamity and a whole crap show. But apparently Jimmy Butler doesn't want to go to the Lakers because of one LeBron James. Not to mention Lakers actually can't trade for Jimmy Butler at this time. They can't trade for him until December. So let's break down the Jimmy Butler trade timeline because last night was absolutely wild. So first of all, Jimmy Butler requests a trade. Obviously that goes viral. People start freaking out. The first thing that we hear though is Andrew Wiggins' brother tweeting this. Hallelujah with a smiley face and the raised hands. All right, Andrew Wiggins' brother. Now, mind you, that's Nick Wiggins, Andrew Wiggins' old brother, who isn't very good at basketball. So the fact that he's cheering about this is hilarious just to start off with. So Butler then mocks Nick Wiggins on Instagram by putting a video on his Instagram story, doing hills, and saying, hallelujah, I got the same energy all the time. Good for you, Jimmy Butler, calling out Nick Wiggins. I'm not really sure what he's looking to gain on that one. So then Steven Jackson, calls out Wiggins' brother and tells Andrew Wiggins to check his bro and to say, hey, keep this guy under wraps. There's no need for him to call problems. Then Andrew Wiggins puts this down on Instagram saying, SJ, old dude stay hating like he was anything special, bum ass. I keep that same energy everywhere I go. So Andrew's basically calling Stack old on Instagram, calling him out, saying he's a bum-ass player. He then put an Instagram comment out there saying that Steven Jackson was never good and that he needs to watch his mouth. And then Nick Wiggins backs that same statement up and says that Stack sucks. Steven Jackson then proceeds to post his basketball reference page on Instagram saying, quote, old bum ass with a chip, crickets that you fear, love you guys. This was wild. So Andrew Wiggins calls out Steven Jackson. Steven Jackson calls out Wiggins, telling him basically to check himself, calls him a bum, and then Jackson comes out and posts his basketball reference page on Instagram. Jimmy Butler, you've officially blown up the NBA. This is why the NBA is the #1 sports league, because we get this kind of crap every single week. But let's get into the actual basketball stuff of this and away from the social media chaos that the most overpaid player in basketball, Andrew Wiggins, decided to start. We'll get to that later. But apparently Tom Thibodeau doesn't want to trade him. Not like he has much of a choice. Every single day the Timberwolves wait to trade Jimmy Butler, they lose more and more leverage. So we broke down 3 trades that we think a couple teams can make for Jimmy Butler. We kept them the Nets, the Knicks, and the Clippers, since obviously those are the 3 teams that Butler wants to be traded to. So let's start with the Brooklyn Nets. I think a good trade for them would be trading away Rondae Hollis-Jefferson to the Minnesota Timberwolves, along with Kenneth Faried and that first-round pick that the Denver Nuggets got that the Brooklyn Nets got from the Denver Nuggets for the Kenneth Faried trade. Now, Faried and that first-round pick would be great assets for the Timberwolves to use. If you're looking at the Timberwolves, what they're getting back, you guys have to remember, they are not nearly going to get back what they traded for Jimmy Butler because we are so close to the season. Not to mention that team is going to have to sign him to a massive extension. So Ronnie Hollis-Jefferson, 23 years old. He's been developing quite well for the Nets the past couple of years. I actually think he'd be a really good asset for the Timberwolves moving forward. Fareed could be a good backup to Taj Gibson, and that first-round pick the Timberwolves are desperately going to need. How about the New York Knicks? Steve Mills, the GM of the team, already came out and said that they are not going to rush this rebuild and that they don't want to just trade away players and picks for a random star player that they can get in the offseason anyway. So this is probably the least likely out of the three trades. The trade idea is Frankie Smokes, Courtney Lee, and the Knicks' first-round draft pick for Jimmy Butler. The package is good. The idea behind it is good. However, it seems highly unlikely at this time that the Knicks are actually going to make a move for Jimmy Butler. The most likely of these three teams is the Los Angeles Clippers. And I actually think this trade can end up working. Now, I want you guys to put a slash next to Jerome Robinson's name. It could be Jerome Robinson or it could be Lou Williams. Now, Jerome Robinson, it is still up in the air for whether or not he could actually get traded because he was just recently drafted. But if you're the Timberwolves and you're still trying to win now with Karl-Anthony Towns, Andrew Wiggins, Jeff Teague, and the like, you could love a guy like a Lou Williams and a Tobias Harris. That first-round pick obviously is in 2020 instead of 2019, but at this time, the Timberwolves don't really have a ton of options. I think this is their best-case scenario, and again, most likely it would be Lou Williams over Jerome Robinson. And again, that Tobias Harris contract is up at the end of this year. The Timberwolves would have a pretty big decision to make over whether or not to extend him. So let me know in the comments section below, where will Jimmy Butler get traded? If you think it's going to be the Clippers, let me know. Could be the Nets or the Knicks. Personally, I think he's going to end up with the Clippers. I think he's wanted to go to Los Angeles this entire time, and I would not be surprised if the Clippers made a move for him within the next week. So watch out for Jimmy Butler getting traded. I wouldn't be surprised if he is on the move by this weekend. Want to thank FanDuel for sponsoring today's show. Go to return the favor by heading to FanDuel.com/chatsports. You get $20 free with your first deposit. What does that mean? You give $5, deposit $5 on FanDuel, you will get $20 free. Head to FanDuel.com/chatsports to get our deposit bonus today. It's $20 free. It's $20 free that FanDuel is going to give you guys to use FanDuel today. And also, if you guys want to join my game that I'm going to start for Sunday, just hit me up, shoot me a DM at SportsDean on Twitter. All right, let's get into our other NBA rumors because we can't only talk about Jimmy Butler, though I'd love to because this whole Nick Wiggins versus Steven Jackson thing is wild to me. But apparently Gordon Hayward and Kyrie Irving are at 100%. Both of them are currently playing in 5-on-5 drills, and according to Brad Stevens, they won't even sit out back-to-backs this season. Yes, Kyrie Irving and Gordon Hayward are healthy enough to play the entire season with no minutes restrictions. Music to my ears. Music to any Celtics fans' ears. Music to anyone's ears who loves to watch competitive basketball. The Celtics are going to be a fantastic team to watch this year. And with Kyrie Irving and Gordon Hayward both healthy, they are going to be one of the fiercest teams in the NBA. Let's get into something that isn't as fun. So the Mavericks investigation into the sexual harassment and sexual assault charges on the organization have come to a conclusion, and the NBA has found them guilty. Not just guilty, maybe as guilty as any NBA franchise of sexual harassment in the history of the league. The report claims that 15 employees backed up the initial reporting of harassment and also put in their own reports of either sexual harassment or sexual assault. The punishment? Mark Cuban will be fined $2.5 million by the NBA, and Cuban and the Dallas Mavericks will donate $10 million to various women's charities who deal with sexual assault and sexual harassment. Mark Cuban sounded very apologetic when he was interviewed about this, saying, quote, "I didn't realize it, I didn't recognize it, and that is completely on me. We will be better." Now, I called out the Dallas Mavericks and the NBA a couple weeks ago, asking where this investigation was. We haven't heard anything about this since it went down. But this is just another example of where the NBA is as a league and how much better the leadership is in this league than in other ones. This is how you have to do an investigation like this. They found that the Mavericks were culpable. They went after the owner. They gave a fair punishment. And even through that punishment, Mark Cuban took it a step further and donated that $10 million out of his pocket and out of the Dallas Mavericks pocket. So fantastic job by the NBA finding the Mavericks guilty and also holding them responsible for something that they should have been held responsible for. So we'll have more updates for you guys on this as we continue to go forward. We don't currently have the names of the charities that Mark Cuban will be donating to, but for now, great job by the NBA of coming to a swift and stern conclusion to this investigation. But you guys should buy a Miz in the Main shirt. Why? Because it's the only thing that makes me look good on camera. Head to www.comfortable.af to get your Mizzen and Main shirt today. I have 8 of these in my closet. 8. They are so unbelievably comfortable. I wear them to bed. I wear them to work. I wear them to the bar. I wear them to any social outing. They're unbelievably comfortable and look good with just about everything. I mean, I look pretty great right now, and I'm even wearing an undershirt. So head to Mizzen and Main. Go to www.comfortable.af. Want to thank them for providing the clothing for the men here at Chat Sports. Let's get to our last piece of news. Space Jam is back. Space Jam 2 is officially on its way. LeBron James has been recruiting the hell out of a lot of really talented producers and directors, and he apparently got Black Panther producer and director Ryan Coogler. Now, that's a fantastic nab for Space Jam 2, who really seems like they're putting together one hell of a crew for this movie right now. We know that LeBron is obviously going to be in it. We know that the Looney Tunes are making their return to Space Jam as well. And Michael Jordan could be in the movie also. Wouldn't that be something, seeing LeBron James and Michael Jordan in the same movie? Now, this isn't expected to be a sequel. This is going to be its own standalone movie without any reference towards the old one, but it will be interesting to see if Michael Jordan is in this one. So let me know in the comments section below. Will you watch Space Jam 2? Give me a Y for yes. Give me an N for no. I'm throwing up a million Ys. Absolutely am I watching Space Jam 2. By the way, shout out to all you people on Twitter who are like, no, Space Jam wasn't a great movie. Space Jam was a fantastic film of fun and the Looney Tunes. If you're going into Space Jam expecting some Oscar winner, then what the heck are you doing? It's a kid's movie. It is a kid's movie about basketball and the Looney Tunes. If your expectation is to get something like Fruitvale Station, I don't have an answer for you. It's the Looney Tunes. It's Space Jam. Your expectations should be set right there. So I'm absolutely going to watch Space Jam 2. I'm tired of all this Space Jam hate that I keep seeing on my Twitter timeline. Keep it to yourselves. All right, it's the highest grossing basketball film ever. We don't need your hate on this program.